Hi, this is George. I don't know about you, but I like to come up with patterns that I can do um, at home because I'm retired now. But when I was working, I would come up with a few patterns that I like to do and incorporate them into doodles. This one is called Gears, which I came up with the inner workings of like a clock or a watch. You know, the things that like that. And it doesn't have to be precise because not all gears work where one comes up and meets the other gear and kind of rotates. But for this one, I just like to hand draw it, and you can do it like at home or at work or at school. And you can, what I'm using now is a pencil, and what I'll do later on is going in with my Staedtler pigment liner. These are great. But anyway, at home, I would sometimes use a bottle cap or a cap from a jar or a compass, which is easier for you. And again, I'm not too worried about everything matching up because it's a doodle and you just have fun. So and I have found that I like to gravitate to a pattern that I come up with over and over again because it's some of it is muscle memory, but it's also comforting me when I doodle because I'm not necessarily having to reinvent the wheel, as it were. And you can do it any way you want. For example, I'm just eyeballing it here so you can see the various gears. And these, the long ones here, kind of remind me of things that are inside of a clock or a watch. And these shapes here, I'm going to go over ways that you can incorporate it in a doodle. So I'm going to ink in my stuff. And again, it's the Staedtler 0.5. It's a medium width on the point. Because you know I like to have differing sizes of nibs. So I'll be back when they're all done. Whoops, didn't mean to do that, so I'll include a couple of mistakes. Yeah, I'll put that here. And then if you go over lines, doesn't matter. Nobody will know the difference. Going to erase a little bit. Remember to allow your ink to dry sufficiently before you go in with your eraser. I'm using a kneaded eraser because it's more gentle on the paper. So, as an idea, so that's the basic outline or pattern. So what I do is sometimes I include a border, but I have things that carry over the border, like here and here, and then there these gears down here. Okay, so far so good. So I'm going to go in with my Statler 0.7, and one of the things I like to do is to give the gears a little bit more dimensionality. I like to include a screw or something that looks like the head of a screw, and depending upon how many I have here, I will switch out the orientation of the lines. So the next part is rounding out. To me, rounding out is relaxing, and it gives the doodle that I'm working on a bit more interest. So I recommend you have a set like the Statler, like I'm using now, or the Thule Arts, or microns, depending upon your budget. I like to use wider for the color and in section, like this is coloring in, and then the other ones may be medium width and then the fine width. And if you have the budget, try and pick up one of the uniball signal 0.28, because it's really a really fine nib. The Statler has 0.05, which is very fine, but that may be too fine in a lot of cases. And if you happen to hear a siren going off in the background, I live close by a fire department house. So I apologize for that. And another thing I want to apologize for is my camera, actually my phone, because I'm recording on, see, this is where I made a boo-boo. And you just incorporate it into your tool, and nobody will know the difference. So anyway, my camera is my phone, and I'm trying to save up enough for another phone, but because I'm on a fixed income, I have to use what I have. And eventually I want to do live streaming, but I'm not going to do that with this phone here. I like the Statler because of the number is right here and the cap. So if you separate one from the other, you'll be able to adjust. And as far as the rounding I'm doing now, you can do as little as you want or totally ignore it. Personally, I like the difference that it makes. So I'm doing the rounding here, and I'm not sure if I want to include the rounding for inside here, or just parts of the gears and piston like this. So we'll see. But the Statler is also waterproof, so if you want to do a little bit of a watercolor, or in this case later on, I will do a bit of intense, because you know me, I like intense. So I'm going to use some intense, but I don't know which ones I'm going to use. So we'll do a swatch, and this is ink black. Let's see. Use a little bit of water. Yeah, it's really dark. So I'm not sure. My normal one is charcoal gray, a little bit less of the intense. I'm not sure why all this water coming out from my ink or my brush here, and do a little bit of indigo. Deep indigo with is 1100. The charcoal gray is 2100. Let's mop up a little bit of the water for the charcoal. Okay. And a little bit of the black. This is just a paper towel, and this stuff is one that I did with colored pencil and then graphite. So why don't we go with the black first and have that in the deep part. So I'm going to sharpen my pencil and I'll be back. This is my Doodle pencil sharpener. It has gauges. 2, 3, but I like it because it doesn't waste a lot of the pencil. See? Okay, so let's go with a little bit of black to define the overall channel in this area here. Not a lot, because you don't need a lot of stuff when you use ink tints. A little bit goes a long way, which is good. Now I got I think the 24 set. They have a smaller set, but this one was really on sale. And it's kind of expensive, but the amount of pencil I'm actually using, to be honest with you, my 24 will last me years and years. And the good thing with Inktense is that you can layer it one layer on the other without it lifting. Once the Inktense has been activated. I don't know why my paintbrush is acting up today, but it is. So I have a bit of my paper towel ready, so I'm ready. So I'm going to be basically hugging the gears big time. And a little bit of wait time while this initial layer dries. So I'll be back. I'm using a little bit of paper towel to kind of mop it up a little bit and speed the drying time of it. So that's wet still, but I think it's going to be safe enough to go over different areas with another color. In this case, I'm going to use the charcoal gray. And since this is more dry than this one, I'm going to go over the things that are connecting the gears to one another. One of the ways I like to do this is on the side, allow the what might be the natural channel to come through. For example, this is a channel that is created by the gear. This is another channel. This is a channel that is more or less round because it doesn't really have anything that is impacting this shape. This here is a little bit of shadow because this here connects with this and with this. And remember to move your paper so it's easier. So this is the shadow from this gear. Normally, when you have a painting or a doodle, you figure out where the light source is coming from. I'm probably breaking a couple of rules as far as the light and where it falls, because it may be natural, more natural, for the shadow to more or less sweep in, but I like to round it out a little bit more as far as the shadow I'm going to give. So the light source is coming from here. This here, realistically, probably wouldn't have this shadow, but I like it, so I include it. Get my paper towel. See the difference between the shading in here and here? This is lighter than this, but only by a fraction. Bad water drop. Okay, here we go. See, the ink doesn't spread when I contact it with water, which is a good thing. And even though I didn't have any ink tints here, I am applying a little bit of what's left on my water brush to these areas. So I want to include a bit more dimension in the background. So I'm going to add a little bit of the ink black. To reinforce the initial layer I applied. And what I'm doing is basically giving you some options that you can employ. If you prefer the graphite over here, that's fine. In fact, if you want to do the graphite and then a blending stump, go for it. There's the siren again. So I'm going to work on another area while this dries, and I'm going to do a little bit of work around the edges of the screw head. That way is giving it more dimension. And in this case, I'm using deep indigo, which is on 1100. Take your time. There's no roughs. In fact, this is going to be split up a little bit when I edit it. My napkin. And spread it out a little bit more so it's not stark or as stark. I like to work, when I work in colors, I like to vary up the intensity in hue, meaning I have a darker hue, mid-tone hue, and a light hue. So I forgot to color in this area, and while this is drying, I'm going to do a little bit of ink black. And again, reinforce it in the background a little bit. Like that. And like that. And just as I enforced the background, I'm going to do a little bit of deep indigo within the screw head. Again, I'm not worried about the correct straddle placement, just enough. Again, get it a little bit more separation. And because I never know when to quit, I'm going to use a little bit of detail here. Basically, you want to add as many layers as you can, either through the use of ink or other means. So before I totally mess it up, what do you think? This is one of my favorite patterns that I like to use. And again, I like to use the three-tone approach. You give it enough detail and variety, but outgoing so bad or complete going over the edge. Hope you enjoyed the video and got inspired to create some gears.